really shy, but I'm not interested in talking about my life, about myself so much. But if it's fun to talk with somebody like you, you know, I don't mind talking. But it's up to who you are talking to. That book is based on the conversations I had with the editor of this magazine in Japan, and so I liked him very much. And you know, talking with him, I can be very natural and fluent. So that's why I decided to have a conversation with him. And he's a little bit older than I am, but we had a kind of similar background. You know, we were kind of rebels in the 60s. We kind of shared the same time to grown up. So, so the book is based on the conversation, but series of conversations with this guy. His name is Suzuki. So the main purpose, main reason is because I like him. It's nice to talk with him, someone like him. That's the reason.
I noted that you mentioned many times about the great influence from Debussy and Ravel. And what do you think the key difference between the Impressionism classical music and the root classical? So what's the most attractive to you?
For instance, in pop music, in Japan or China or in America, everywhere, they use a chord like C, G, D minor, whatever, A minor. Those chords were used by like 250 years ago by Bach. So it's been the same for more than 10 centuries. So I was a little tired about that when I was maybe 15 or 16 years old. Well, after I encountered the music of Debussy when I was 13 or 14, I knew a different music than those C minor, A minor music. It's a very different. It's a very fresh sounding, unknown sounding, mysterious music to me. So that I think still is the music of Debussy, especially Debussy. And the music of Ravel, you know, if you study the music theory, you know, you can understand. You can understand his thinking, how to write in that way. But Debussy is really different, more mysterious to me. It is still mysterious for me after, you know, more than 40 years of encounter. So it is very different music from the classical music. It's a huge gap between them. And I still think that Debussy is the father of music of 20th music.
from the moment when you were involved in the movie Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, you were connected with the film score music. Do you think that the movie had a great influence on your music afterwards? What I'm trying to say is the soundtrack music changed your individual music career.
Maybe. I'm not so aware of that, but yeah, it's possible, very possible. Of course, you know, I became more conscious about the soundtrack, film music, not only my film music, but the other people's film music too. And when I watch a film, of course, I'm very conscious about sound and music too. So it's because after I made the first soundtrack for Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, you know, writing film music has become part of my profession. So, of course, you know, I'm not just one person. I'm doing this thing, but the other thing, you know. So it influences each other.
To your audience, your fans, the Sakamoto Roichi we know is a unclassifiable musician, and you play jazz, you play house music, even hip hop, and of course classical music, and your territory has covered all of genres of music, the category, and in the last 20 years. So what does the exploration spirit come from?
If you are asked often, like, what kind of girl you like? Is there any pattern or type? I would answer no.
Okay.
It depends on the personality. Music too. You know, I not liking music because of the genre or category. Because let's say I wouldn't say, oh, I like this music because it's hip hop.
Okay.
You know, within hip hop, there's music I like, and there's music I don't like. In any category, like a classical music, there are some pieces I don't like, some pieces I really love. So in any genre of music, you know, there's a division of like and not like.
Okay.
So simply I'm not caring about the genres or categories, but you know, it naturally comes from, you know, you don't have to think a girl you like or not. You know that. As soon as you see or you meet her, you know that. You like her or you don't like her. The music is the same. So when I listen to some music, like for 1 second, you know, I can tell, oh, this is what I like or not. But then things can change. Like at the first impression, you know, maybe you don't like this piece of music, but then listening to the same piece over and over for 1 month, then maybe you would like it. And that happens too, also.
In your autobiography, it's mentioned that you were very much into the minimalism music before, and you were interested in the works of John Cage and Steve Lach. It shows that in your recent new works, Disappearance. Yeah, I see the trend of your own minimalism music, and would you like to talk about it?
Like, for instance, the beauty of Debussy's music is very, you know, is existing in a very narrow, very detailed parts, like maybe some tremolo of some lower strings, or some combination of two instruments like the cello and horn, or very the beauty is in the very details. So that's also minimalism to me. It's not only the style of minimalism. Well, style of minimalism is obviously listening to some of Steve Reich music. It's very obvious. The same pattern, repeated over and over again, and then some small changes would happen. That's also minimalism, but minimalism is in the color of music also, not only the repetition. But, so that's what I'm interested in nowadays, recently.
Not so long ago, with some other musicians, you had a serial collaboration with the film Ryuichi Sakamoto Presents in New York, especially John Zorn. So, what is the concept behind it?
John Zorn has a small club in downtown New York. It's called the Stone, and he has asked many artists to curate several nights, and he asked me to curate like 6 nights, almost 1 week. Well, it was, everything was up to me, so it could be I just go there and I'm playing the piano by myself, but it's not fun to me. So I wanted to invite several artists for each night, and yes, some were I already knew, some are not. I mean, I hadn't played together. Maybe mostly, and then this place club called Stone is for one condition from John Zorn is the music should be experimental. That's the only condition he gave me. So I invited kind of a free music musicians. One is Otomo. He's a kind of free improviser on the guitar. And Taylor Dupree, Stephen Vittiello, and what else? More John Zorn himself. So we had a great time. But somehow I had to play every night, 6 nights straight, and each night has 2 shows. So I did 12 shows. It was really, really tiring because the reason is that it's basically based on improvisations. So doing improvising, you want to be fresh for yourself. You don't want to repeat what you have done. So, but my imagination is limited. So, in the 3rd night or something, my brain was empty. No imagination, no idea coming from. So that was really tiring. But it's like almost like a Buddhist monk training.
lately, actually, you have a zero publication on different music genres and classified composers like Bach and many different kind of music. And how does the idea came from?
It's kind of simple that well, now we have the internet, so children, kids can listen to any kind of music free. Just go to YouTube, type some word, and then the music will appear. So it's kind of, they are doing some radical listening. Like they listen to maybe music from Renaissance and music from yesterday, from China and from Detroit. It's really radical. I really wanted to do that, like 40 years ago, but we couldn't because we didn't have an internet. Now kids can, without any trying to be a rebel or something, they just do that every day. I'm kind of envy, but then I started worrying about them. Because they don't know what to listen, what they should listen, or what the good music is. They're just radically listening to whatever they want. So it's okay. I support the freedom of they have, but just maybe because I'm older, I wanted to show them the good music. This is good music, so you might want to listen to it. You have totally freedom to listen to every whatever you want, but I'm saying this is good music. That's the concept. So it's like I'm doing for my own son. And actually I did. When my son was 14, he suddenly started playing the bass. And he asked me to give him a playlist of bass pieces. Must listen bass pieces. So I made a playlist of bass, like any genres, like jazz or rock or R&B and everything. And I gave it him. So, maybe that would work. I thought I could do that for not only bass but for classical or rock or jazz. I can show people what I recommend. So, well, it's very common that the recommendation on the music site is very common, right? So, same thing. That's the concept behind it.
Okay. So, any plans of producing some new works recently?
It's been already 4 years since my last album. So I want to concentrate on making a new album next year. So, but it will be released maybe 2015, sometime early. I hope it's going to be early 2015.
book, it's mentioned that you were quite interested in the social movement during your high school period, and you were involved in some speeches. When I look at the big picture, you were still very active in the nowadays social movement in Japan, such as the nuclear issue in Fukushima. I see that you are also involved in some planning and arranging jobs. What do you see in this movement comparing with your early ones?
Well, obviously, in the 60s, you know, I was a teen. Then, around the time I entered high school, the social movements, like mainly by students, were rising from 67 through more or less 1970, 71, just for a few years, like 3-4 years. So I was young, very kind of passionate, motivated. So I naturally joined those movements. But looking at that time from now, it's almost like maybe it would sound a little shallow, but it was almost like a fashion, very fashionable.
Yeah.
You know, it was very fashionable to be involved in those movements. If you're kind of if you're a cool guy
Yeah.
or edgy kid in the school, you know, you need to be involved in those movements. Like it's like doing a rock band or something, or like a computer music or something. You know, nowadays you are considered a kind of cool in a classroom if you do like if you make music by your computer or something. So it's kind of the same thing. You know, it's about youth, passion, and nowadays, currently, we have more serious problems, like environmental problems. And I am much more serious than I was, 40 years ago, or more than that. It's not fashion, but I've been doing these causes because of not only myself, but the future generations, like our sons and daughters and grandsons and daughters, or many more future generations, to conserve this earth or this environment for them.
Do you think you are a person who is born sensitive to such social movements?
Maybe so. But I'm not only following my nature or my instinct, but if you are a responsible man or woman, and also if you're an intellectual person, to see what is to come in the future if we keep consuming the nature and the earth in this space, at this pace, you can imagine what would happen, right? I think that's natural. So in that level, I'm a responsible person. I want to be a responsible person. That's why. So it's not only a passion or fashion.